Experts are telling us that artificial intelligence will soon be advanced enough to take over tasks in our workplace. Yeah. This one, I wouldn't say is artificial or intelligent, but very clever all the same, and doesn't really understand boundaries or like work time. Okay. Artificial intelligence is the topic du jour at the moment because recently AI, or artificial intelligence, AI, has been gaining more and more media attention for some advances that it has made in capability. And there are those who are predicting that AI systems will soon be taking over our jobs. And I just want to weigh in on this little debate and give my perspective. Of course, for those of you who follow my vlog here, you will know that I drive a Tesla, and a Tesla has autopilot features which incorporate artificial intelligence technology. There was a news report just the other day about a law firm in the United States hiring an AI system to help with case litigation. And I've witnessed artificial intelligence systems do artistic things like take scenes from popular movies and paint them as if they had been painted by Van Gogh or Picasso and so on. And while all these systems are impressive and very clever and complex, one has to remember that the best that we can do with artificial intelligence currently is mimicry. For instance, Picasso had to be born and his genius had to be expressed and shared with the world so that today computer scientists could write an algorithm that taught a computer how to paint popular TV or movie scenes as if they had been painted by Picasso, right? But we don't have any AI being Picasso or whatever the next genius would be. Right now, in technical parlance, we only have what are called narrow artificial intelligence, or ANI. And that refers to all these AI systems that you hear about are very narrow in their function. So the AI system that drives my Tesla isn't capable of painting anything, let alone like Picasso. And the AI system that paints like Picasso, if I asked it to drive my car, I'd have an accident, right? So it's very narrow in its focus. The holy grail of artificial intelligence research is to create general intelligence, or AGI, artificial general intelligence, which is to say a system that can match the human level of intelligence and be as capable across the board in all situations and for all tasks, just like we are as humans. And then there are those who postulate that when we hit that mark, when we achieve AGI, we will quickly be superseded by these systems, because they will, being intelligent, they'll be able to program just like we can program these systems. They'll be able to program themselves and become even more intelligent than humans. And then they say that that would be an exponential thing, where it gets more intelligent and more intelligent, more intelligent, more intelligent, just sort of takes off like a cliff, and that we will be left behind. And some people will say, well, this will be utopia, because they would then be able to wipe out disease and reverse climate change and all these different things. And then there are others that say that this will be the extinction of the human race. Right. Well, I just want to talk about why I'm a little skeptical about these claims. There are two main methods of approaching the problem of creating AGIs. One way is, people who die and donate their body to science. AI researchers take their brains, and they freeze them. And then they cut the brains up into very, very fine slices. I'm talking really, really thin slices. And they take those slices and they put them on microscope slides, put them under the microscope, and they take a picture of these slices. And then those pictures are loaded into a computer, and the computer is programmed to be able to tell in that picture, well, that's a neuron, and that's something else, and there's another neuron, and here's two neurons connecting, and this, synaptic connections, and identify the different components in the slide, and then in the computer reassemble the slides, slice by slice, back into a sort of virtual model of the brain, and create a sort of roadmap of all the neurons and how they connect in this virtual brain, and then use that roadmap as the basis for intellectual or intelligence, and sort of load that into a computer and say, go. That's a huge project. That's a hugely ambitious project. And science is about questions, not about answers. And whenever science has these huge, lofty, blue sky, or whatever you want to call them, projects, it's very tempting to come up with predictions as to what will be the benefits or the implications once the project is finished. And these predictions very, very rarely come true. Take, for instance, the Human Genome Project, which was a huge project in its time, back in the 1990s, early 2000s, where scientists, in this case biologists, were mapping the human genome. And they were saying, while they were mapping it, that once they had mapped it, they will have the ability to wipe out disease, and that we'd have all these, wondrous benefits from doing it. And then, well, they succeeded. We do know the map of our human genome now, and oops, it's a little more complex than they first thought. Because, just quickly, the genes, our genetic code, is the blueprint for protein. They say for life, but really it's for proteins. We are made of proteins. Skin is protein, blood is protein, bones and muscles and sinews and nerves and all the things that make us us is all protein. And the proteins, like the DNA, are kind of long strands of of material, of matter, molecules. All right? It's a little more complex than that, but think of it like long strands of spaghetti. And as a strand, they are pretty useless. Proteins don't do anything. Proteins have a function. They're meant to do something for the body. But the way proteins work is that they take this, they take the strand and they fold. They fold in very complex, convoluted seeming ways. And it's that shape that results that allows them to do their function. And if the folding is incorrect, just slightly, the protein is diseased, and that's the form, that's what causes genetic sort of diseases. And the protein can't function. Well, it turns out that the genes, they encode the makeup of the protein, but they don't seem to encode how the proteins fold. And so, when the Genome Project finished, they realized that they didn't have the answer to eternal life and all the rest of it. So, when it comes to mapping a human brain in a computer virtually, I haven't got any particular sort of thing like when they do that, they're going to definitely find this is going to be the reason why that won't deliver general intelligence. I don't know why it won't work. It's just that if previous lofty scientific goals are anything to go by, they're going to hit up on something that they haven't anticipated, and they're not going to have their general intelligence handed to them because they have this map of the human brain in a computer. The other problem with that approach, though, is that the human brain is the most complex system we are aware of. It's got billions of neurons, each with tens of thousands of different connections with other neurons. So the complexity of the human brain is immense. And to get a computer, conventional computer today, to model that complexity is a very tall order. Now they're saying that, you know, computer power keeps on doubling every 18 months or whatever, and that's true. But we're still working on silicon, and I don't think that silicon-based computers will be able to efficiently and cost-effectively run a simulation of a full human brain. I think it's just too advanced for silicon. What we will need is a functional quantum computer, which is still a theoretical possibility. There are a lot of advances in that, and that's another video, and I'm not going down that rabbit hole. But we don't really have quantum computers ready for prime time yet that could handle that complexity. So I don't think that that option is going to result in AGI as soon as its proponents are claiming it will. Another approach to artificial intelligence research is to realize that, you know, artificial intelligence research has been going on for decades, a very long time, and they've been promising AGI for a long time, and they haven't been delivering for a long time. And so AGI has been seen as a sort of a joke. Artificial intelligence research has sort of been in the back room next to the closet for a long time because there's not much happening in it. There's not a lot of progress, and it's very frustrating trying to replicate intelligence. So the second way is to say, well, maybe artificial intelligence is just too complex a problem. Maybe the human brain simply is incapable of comprehending itself, right? In terms of understanding the complexities of how it works, because it is so complex. So maybe we should just give up. Don't even bother. Let's work with what we've got. We have artificial narrow intelligence. So let's build some narrow intelligence systems, in particular, ones that have two capabilities. Number one, be able to program itself. A computer that can program itself. And number two, one that can sort of adjudicate or decide what is and what is not intelligence and how intelligent it is. So that one computer, you can load it up with this AI system as like a seed or a base, and then you say, reprogram it. So it reprograms this artificial system, and then the other feature comes in and says, well, is this new version smarter or dumber than the first version? If it's smarter, discard the first version and let's use the new version as the new base and then reprogram that one. If not, throw out the new version, go back to the old version and again, repeat. And the idea is that if they could achieve this system, the system would be able to reprogram and test itself 1,000 or even 1,000,000 times faster than a human programmer could do the same thing. So that the pace of acceleration to AGI would be greatly increased. The problem I have with this approach is, first of all, what actually is intelligence? Right? This is a problem for all artificial intelligence research. What is intelligence? And our best guesstimate of what intelligence is what is called G-score. Basically an intelligence quotient where you have a number, and it's a number based on whether, if you have a G-score of 100, that means you have an average intelligence. If you have a higher than 100, you're smarter than the average, and if it's lower than 100, you're dumber than the average, right? But this is a horribly inefficient, simplistic view of the complexity that is intelligence. They say, well, we have specific intelligences like logical reasoning and problem solving, or general knowledge, and different areas of intelligence that we sort of collate into one convenient G-score. But even that is too simplistic. Until we can really define what is intelligence ourselves, we're not going to be defining or creating computers that could discern what is intelligent. And to be able to program a computer takes creativity. And this is my biggest message I have for this video. All these artificial intelligence systems that you see or hear about, all they do is mimic. They can paint pictures like Picasso paints pictures, or painted pictures. But Picasso had to live. Picasso's genius had to be expressed and shared with the world, so that in our time, a computer scientist could write an artificial intelligence, narrow intelligence system which can paint a picture as if, mimic the genius that was Picasso. We're not seeing any creative genius coming from these artificial intelligence systems. So for those of you who are hearing about stories of how AI is going to come in and take over your job and you're going to be unemployed, oh boo-hoo, I think that for the time being at least, we still have more time than most of these media stories are talking about, because if we can reinvent ourselves not as doing the means, the sort of work as usual, business as usual work within the organization, but we can prove to our shareholders that we can participate in creativity, and in particular creating new value for our shareholders or organization, because no AI system can create new value. So anyway, that's my rant for the day, and I will see you next time. Please remember to rate, thumbs up, thumbs down, as you like, share this video, subscribe if you want to hear more, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.